Welcome back all, Daz from MRT Techniques. I'll pose a question. Do you have a layout room or an outbuilding that houses your model railway? I know I definitely do. It is also some distance from my house. I also like to tinker with my trains inside the house so I can be a little bit closer to the family at my workbench in the office. Do you wish you had another DCC command station inside the house at your workbench where you can tinker around, but you don't want to pay the big bucks for a mainstream DCC command station? This week I'm going to step you through the basic setup of what is called DCC EX, which is a open source do-it-yourself DCC command station, what allows you to have full control of your DCC locomotives and also interfaces with JMRI, Decoder Pro or Panel Pro also, and also is wireless, and that'll be another video. I'll show you how to set the wireless things. So just to give you some sort of idea, the hardware costs between $30 and $50 depending on what sort of hardware you might have lying around. So the hardware we'll be looking at using is Arduino Mega, and I'll list all these in the description below. You'll need what they call a motor shield, a couple of different 12-volt power supplies, DC power supplies, and because the Arduino likes 12 volts, also I have a buck converter. What we're going to do now, we'll get over to the workbench and we'll show you how to put it together. MRT Scale Prints, helping you to add realism to your model railway. We are producing craftsman quality prints in various scales, including HO, O and N scales. We are proudly Australian owned and operated. www.modelrailroadtechniques.com. So the first thing we're going to look at is a very basic overview of this system. So what we're going to we'll go into the website for DCC EX. So I'll put that link below. So what we're in here is just the Getting Started tab. So here on the main page, Getting Started. So basically the components of the full system, as I briefly described in the intro, the command station, which is the Arduino Mega or other. There are other options, but I'm going to go through the Mega version today. The controller, which is a controller such as the WiThrottle EX, the JMRI interface on Decoder Pro, which I will show today, or Engine Driver, which is the soft controller on your iPhone, iPad or other sort of tablet device. A DCC power supply for the motorboard to the track, and optionally one for the Arduino, and I'll show you the difference between those two during this video. We've got a main track, which is the operations track or your layout for want of a better phrase, and also the programming track or the service track, which is like any other DCC system. And obviously we need a DCC equipped train. This is a lovely little website, so they go through like a shopping list of what you actually need and what's supported and what's not. So next we're going to go through to the hardware side of things. So as I said, I'm looking at the Arduino Mega today. So just to be mindful, it's the Arduino Mega 2560, which is Pro embedded, or the Mini Mega 2560 Pro Micro, or the Mega Pro 2560. So just be careful. The one I've got is a clone and it does work. I got it off Alibaba from China. I've since done a lot of research into this, and you can be a bit hit and miss with them. So it's always best to go for the genuine Arduino. They are a bit more expensive here in Australia, but worth the hassle and the frustration trying to get it to work when you think you've done something wrong, where it's actually the Arduino itself. Obviously other versions you can use, the Arduino Uno, which I've tried. Issue with the Arduino Uno, which is in later video, we're going to go to a full wireless system. My understanding, the sketch that we're going to load onto this, or the program we're going to load onto this, is too large for the capacity of the Uno. So the next most important component is the motor controller. So basically the motor controller, or they call them shields, and I'll step through why they call them a shield in the video. This version is pretty much a high voltage, high current switch, which with the sketch loaded on, we're going to use it to create the DCC signal. Normally these shields are used for powering electric motors. So there are a few out there. So what I suggest you do, and this is the one I've bought, and I've got no affiliation to any of this, I've used the Decoder Robot Motor Shield. Apparently this is one thing that you can't sort of skimp on. You need to go for one that is compatible. There are many different ones out there that will that may or may not work. So let's talk a little bit more about power supplies. Now, as I touched on briefly before, you do need two separate power sources. You might only use one power supply, but two separate power sources. So what I mean by that is you can use buck converters as I showed before. But the reason that you need that is because the Arduino will take between 7 and 9 volts AC with 1 amp, whereas the motor shield can take between 12 and 14, 2 or 3 amps, obviously for what is going to be your track power, I should say. So there's different types of power supplies you can use. So obviously in Australia we don't call that, but in the United States they call them wall warts. So the ones I'm using are 12 volt 2 amps I think, and they're only a few bucks. I had these ones lying around. Then obviously you've got the brick style laptop, which will give you a range between 12 and 18 volts, between 3 and 5 probably upwards. So the big thing is obviously the 3.5mm plug there, if you can see that, is what will plug into the Arduino. But what I then use for the motor shield is one of these little plugs here. So it's just a positive and negative, and then it's got the female port that end. So then it's just a matter of plugging one of these into the other end, whether it's via the buck converter, which is down the bottom here. That's the exact same model I've got. As I said, they're only a few bucks. So this is the other option to use, so using one power supply going into 2 buck converters, so one, which is the 12 or 14 volt option, and then the 9 volt option going off to the Arduino. So what we'll do, we'll get into now putting the shield onto the Mega 2560. So what we need to look at doing is just how we orientate the pins. So the first thing we need to look at, you can see each component has this little indentation in it, and this one as well. So what we need to look at doing, I won't go into what these pins are too much, that's probably for another video, but this is just a quick how to put this together. So on each of these sockets, there's a little letter that you can just see there. So with this one here is this very last pin here is A5. So we just want to flip that over, which is now this pin at the top. So that pin needs to go into A5 of the Mega. So let's go and find A5, which is this pin right here. So it's just a matter of making sure that, first of all, that your pins are all nice and straight, and just orientate to A5, and then it's just a matter of just slowly pushing it. You don't want to sort of go too hard with it. And there we go. So that's the connection at this point in time. You see we've got some various pins along the top here on the motor shield. So the ones closest to the bottom of the screen, we've got the ground, the VI in, so that's the power in. So the negative and positive from your DCC, sorry, your negative and positive from your DC power supply. Then you've got positive and negative, what they call A and B. So the A is to the main track and the B is to the programming track. So what we'll do, we'll step through how to wire these together now, and then we'll get some trains up and running. What we're going to look at doing now is doing the power connections to the motor shield, and obviously very simply the connection with the 3.5mm barrel connector to the Arduino. So as you can see, that doesn't have a barrel connector, it's just got a screw down clamp. So what I do for just ease of connection, what I use is the female version of these little barrel connectors. So it's 3.5mm, very cheap, from Alibaba also, I'll link below. So it's just a matter of picking up the correct positive and negatives on the screw term at the back here. Now, disregard my wiring convention here, it's just I've pulled out some wire that I had laying around. So it's just a matter of so the motor shield is now ready to be hooked up to the DC power supply, and we'll now hook up the Arduino Mega. So what we'll do now, we'll take you back to the website, the DCC EX website, and show you how to get the program or the sketch onto the Arduino. So there's two basic ways to do it. One is via the Arduino IDE, so I won't go into too much the background how that works. There's plenty of good videos out there. I'll link some of them below. The other option that the guys and girls at DCC EX have given is what they call this ExInstaller. So we'll go through the IDE version first, and then we'll do the ExInstaller. So what we've gone to the software downloads, command station downloads, and then we find the latest DCC official release. So what that does, it takes you off to a GitHub page, and then we're after the command station EX zip file. So that shouldn't take too long to do it. So what we'll do, you put this file here into the file that your IDE is going to read from. So we'll just quickly go over to mine. Alright, so this is what we've got here. So it obviously looks very daunting at this point in time, but rest assured that there's very little we need to do this to get this working in its basic form. So once we go into some of the wireless side of things in future videos, yes, we will have to change some of this code, but right now we do not. Okay, so what we're going to first look at is just to make sure we've got everything plugged in. So I've plugged in my Arduino into the USB. So it's just a matter of making sure you have got the right board, which I do there. So Arduino board, then the Mega, and then also the big one is to make sure we're into the correct port. Okay, so the first thing we'll look at is with the sketch, just to make sure there's no errors in it, which there shouldn't be. We'll just go and push that verify, which is the little tick, and it's done compiling. And now we want to upload the sketch, which is the arrow that points to the right. This can take a little time to do depending on how quick your computer is. Alright, so this is now done uploading. You can see down the bottom left hand corner here, it says done uploading. And that is pretty well it for uploading the sketch. The other way I said there's this little installer called ExInstaller. So this, if you've got no idea how to use Arduino IDE, this is probably the one for you. So it's just a matter of, we click on the installer here. And then down the bottom corner, it will start up a file in zip form. So then it's just a matter of, we'll go into where it's sitting, we'll unzip it. So you can put it anywhere on your drive that you want to unzip it. So I'm just going to extract it. So once we've unzipped the file to where to whatever location it is, what we need to do is go and find the installer, which is the ExInstaller application. So it's just a matter of scrolling down, and here we are here. And then we go and click on that. So we'll come up with this protected version. I have tried it on various different computers. It is okay. So just a matter of I'm going to go in and run it anyway. And then you'll get this screen here. So it's just a matter of selecting the correct base station. Okay, so it's obviously found the base station it wants to go to, so we're going to go to Mega, going to go to Motor Shield. So the Motor Shield we are, even though this is the Deek robot, which is a direct copy of the Arduino Motor Shield, so that's one we're going to choose. And we know that the board is connected to COM port 6, and obviously we can go into various other things here later on. We will touch on those in previous videos, and then it's just compile and upload. Okay, so we've now finished. That's uploaded and verified COM port 6 and uploaded successfully. So that code is now on the Arduino. So what we're in here is Decoder Pro. So what I'll show you how to do is how to connect the DCC EX command station to the Decoder Pro. So let's go into Edit and then Preferences, and then we're going to go Connections. So you can see here what we've got to do. So I've already obviously set this one up. So there's all various things you need to do. So we're going to be looking at the DCC serial port. So we got the COM port 6 is the same COM port we used for when we loaded it onto the Arduino IDE, and also the ExInstaller. So the connection type is a DCC++. And then, sorry, we should have gone at the top here. The system manufacturer to start with is a DCC++. And depending on what other one you might use out in your layout room, I use the Roco one, which is just in here for the Z21. So that is all done and dusted. So we can now just go in and save that. Now, I'm not going to go into too much on how to use Decoder Pro, so to speak, but all you do is, if you want to go and add a locomotive, you will go and add that and add all the types of decoder, the DCC address and the like. So now, quickly just going to bring you over to the footage of the command station. And I'm just going to click this button up the top here and get that down a little bit. So this button here, so turning the program on and off, and you watch what happens with the lights. So obviously that now that is green. I can see the programmer is on, and we can see how the lights down here come on and off each time I go click and click and click. So that's probably one of the first feedbacks to know that it's actually working correctly. So what we'll now do, we'll set up a little piece of test track, and we'll run a locomotive. We'll use Decoder Pro and its control functions to show you through how we can now control locomotive using this. So what I've got here is the rig that's patched together. So down the bottom there, I've got the buck converter which supplies the power to the Arduino, shade under 9 volts. And it plugs into what I'm pointing out there. Now, I didn't actually point out that this system actually needs to be plugged in via a USB cable to a PC. We'll go into various other options that don't need a PC later on. So we've got 4 lights on there, so that denotes that we've got DCC coming into section A and section B. So section A being the main track, which is the first 2 lights, and section B being the 2 lights above that. So you see the black cables I'm pointing at there, so that's hooked up to section A of the motor shield, so that's the main track, so that'll just be going off to our test track. So without further ado, let's get over to the workbench and start running some trains to show you how this actually works. Okay, so we've got a locomotive on the track there. The track power is on, so what we've got here, we've got WiThrottle, so if you're an Android user, use Engine Driver. So as you can see, I'm just toggling the power on and off via the tablet. Now, this track power toggle switch is obviously turning on and off the DCC EX. What we've got here is the control portion of WiThrottle, so you've got your speed slider up on the left there and all your functions on the right. So we'll just notch it up a little bit, get this locomotive moving. We'll get the tablet out of the way because you know how to use remote control. So about here we're going to hit one of the functions, which will be the horn button. That's all done via the controller. So put the 930 to bed now, so we'll turn the sound off, so yet again just another function key within the controller. DCC EX, I think, is a little bit of a game changer. In particular, its affordability and how I think it's going to get more people into DCC. It's relatively cheap, as we discussed, compared to the mainstream options. Yes, I do agree that doesn't have all the bells and whistles at this point in time, but I know if you have a look at the Discord, which I'll show you quickly, and also on their website, what they've got up and coming, what they're looking at, I think moving forward this is quite a viable option for even people with larger layouts. I'll pose a question to you. Would this be something that you might look at using either for your primary DCC command station or an auxiliary or an ancillary, like is what I'm using my DCC EX for? Just to let you know, there's plenty of support out there. I'll just quickly show you the Discord. So Discord is like a forum. You can see up on the screen here, it's just a matter of typing in various things. So I've just typed in LocoNet, and there's the various questions that people are answering, people from DCC themselves, the programmers and the like. So the next video, what I'm going to be looking at doing is, I literally got in the mail today, this is the Wi-Fi shield. So what that's going to allow us to do is purely Wi-Fi without the need for a PC at all. Obviously you need a PC to load the sketch onto the Arduino to start with, but once we add this, we'll just be able to use a tablet or a phone with either engine driver or WiThrottle as explained to run our trains. So this is going to be in a video in the coming week. So thank you very much for watching. So please comment below if there's any questions. I'll try to answer them the best I can. However, I'll probably, as I'm very new to this myself, I'll probably refer them off or look onto the Discord or other forums that are out there. So you know the drill. Can make sure you like, subscribe, and click that little bell icon to be notified of upcoming content. As always, there's going to be some videos probably up here somewhere, and also down the bottom corner where we'll be looking at subscribe button. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.